Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to another wonderful Saturday morning on Cafe BTW, a gaming morning podcast. Obviously, we don't have a human guest today. We have a video game guest who's the topic of the show, and you'll see him below. What's up, Mario? How are you today?
Hello.
Yeah, it's great to see you. I really appreciate you coming by to talk a little bit about yourself, because on today's episode, I think that it's important to ask you personally before we get started with the show. A little bit about you. What can you tell me about you and your family growing up?
You are family.
I know I'm family, but I'm asking you about your family. Is there anything you could give me about your background specifically?
Woohoo!
Okay, that's not very specific, but how about tell me a little bit about yourself.
Nintendo.
Okay, I get that. So you okay. You know what, Mario?
New Super Mario Brothers Wii. Help me beat the Bowser and save a Princess Peach.
Okay, we'll do that. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna mess with this Mario, but it's really, really awesome to have you all here today. And hello, everyone in the live here. Hello, everyone in the VOD land that's watching outside of the live. If you happen to be here on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m., 11 Eastern, you get to catch the live and join us and talk and chat. But I'm really excited because today is going to be a special day because I'm actually going to see Super Mario Brothers, the movie. Hey, Bo-Katow, good to see you in chat, of course. Actually going with Bo-Katow to see Super Mario Brothers, the movie. So I thought it would be fitting to do kind of a retrospective look back on Mario, the character itself. I know that he is an impactful character for most people. He's very impactful to the whole side of this industry. But before we get into Mario, I just want to do some house cleaning. So remember, we do have what's called a retro gaming community on Twitter. If you'd like to join, you could check out my pinned tweet at the top of my Twitter. We are actually launching our April giveaway this month, and all you have to do is be in the group and comment on the post. This Monday, we're going to be launching our giveaway post for April. We're going to be giving away GameCube's Animal Crossing, which I'm really excited to offer up to the community. So if you'd like to be a part of this giveaway, feel free to join the community if you're not there already. But of course, let's get into everything that we're going to talk about today, because today is a very important day. It's about talking about Mario, because there's so much going on. Obviously, already, as you can see, the movie has amassed 195 million. 5-day in 5 days. So they opened on Wednesday. I don't know if this is correct or if this is a I might be wrong. This might be a projection, but either way, 195 million 5-day projection, second best opening of all time for Illumination, which is obviously the co-creator with Nintendo of this cartoon movie. I have not seen the movie. I've been staying away from a lot of, whatever's going on around this movie, all the spoilers, whatever, if there are spoilers. I'm just trying to, and this is not a spoiler episode, obviously. We're going to be talking about the history of Mario, his impact on the industry, and how important he is to the gaming world. But of course, it's super, super smart to note that the movie is out. If you're going to see it, check it out, because I'm hearing nothing but good things. I hear it's a love letter to the fan base. And obviously you have Chris Pratt doing the voice of Mario, Keegan-Michael Key doing Toad, the girl from that chess movie is Peach. I forgot her name. And then, of course, Jack Black and Charlie Day as Luigi, and Jack Black as Bowser, of course. Really looking forward to this. Won't be until next podcast next week, where I'll give you kind of a non-spoiler review on the actual movie. But it's really important to kind of start in the beginning, because this movie has kind of been something that we've all kind of wanted, I think. And, we're going to go through all the cartoons that Mario's been a part of through his history. But, here he is, this very iconic character. And what I like to say is, you could put a photo of Mario and Jesus next to each other, and I guarantee you, I guarantee you kids will go and say Mario before they say who Jesus is. He's one of the most recognizable figures, characters, people, fictional people I think in the world, I mean, if aliens came down to our world and we had to show aliens what are the four most iconic characters, Mario would be on that list, right? Mario is so iconic, and it's unbelievable that Mario is not as old as you think, because he first appeared in 1981, but it's amazing the impact that this character has had on not only video games, but just in general. Like, you don't have to play video games to know who Mario is. And I think that's a really important note when we start talking about the impact of Mario. Now, to start, the most important thing to note about Mario is this legendary guy that we all know and love, that's still around today, the genius behind Mario, the man that really gave us what we have today. And if it wasn't for this man, he is the Walt Disney of Nintendo, Shigeru Morimoto. And I probably butchered his name like I always do. Miyamoto is so iconic in himself. This guy is a legend. And not only that, the movie that's come out, he's actually been producing it and been a part of it directly. So it's really, really important to respect this gentleman for giving us this character. So that's for sure. But let's go to what was Mario's first appearance in video games. First appearance, and I'll read my script here. Mario's first appearance was in 1981 in the arcade game Donkey Kong, developed by Nintendo, of course. At the time, he was known as Jumpman and was portrayed as a carpenter rather than a plumber at this time. The game became a huge success, led to creation of the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, which we'll get into, which is now one of the most iconic video game series of all time. So obviously, Donkey Kong, wonderful arcade game, birthed on the year I was born in 1981. So it's not only that, I was born on one of the most iconic years, the first year that Mario was inducted into our lives via Donkey Kong. And he was not called Mario. And when was he first called Mario? Well, I'm going to get to that right now. The first time we actually, as far as my research, and just keep in mind, I am no way, shape, or form a historian. Just wanted to be clear. I do my research, though, but it wasn't until 1982 that they renamed Mario in Donkey Kong Jr. And this is one of the rarest games. You know why? Because this is one of the few games where Mario is actually an antagonist. Mario's a bad guy here. He's pulling levers here, trying to take down Donkey Kong Jr. He is a bad guy. And that is one very important note about this game, is that this is one of the rare video games where Mario is actually the bad guy. So if you never played Donkey Kong Jr., it's a pretty fun game, very along the lines of Donkey Kong. But moving right along, because they found popularity in Mario, it was kind of like behind the scenes. They're like, let's take Mario and let's dig a little deeper on him. And then in 1983, the Super Mario Bros. Arcade machine came, and it's the first time they featured Mario from the Big Apple as an Italian plumber. And it's a very, very fun arcade game. And there's actually a place here in LA that has this game still. And if you ever have a chance to play it, it's also one of the first times, I believe, that we see Luigi, because it's a two-player game, of course, at the arcade. And actually, Luigi is also in this. But this is really where Mario starts to mold into the Mario that we know and love today. Now, moving on to I got a timeline here. In 1983 to 1984, a show called The Saturday Morning Supercade was a TV show in 1980s that featured animated segments based on popular video game characters from that era. The show had 5 segments featuring characters such as Donkey Kong, Q*bert, Frogger, Donkey Kong Jr., Pitfall Harry, and a bunch of other characters. So this is a very interesting show. And I believe Mario does make appearances in here, and I'm looking for him. Where is he? Oh, maybe not. Maybe I can't find the Mario segment. I thought I had it. Anyway, interesting to note, this is kind of where Nintendo first dove into having features of cartoons. So now we're going to go to 1985, right? 1985 is when Super Mario Brothers, the original Super Mario Brothers, was brought to us, and brought to us extremely powerfully, because this is the game that, really drove a generation behind Mario, really dove us into the love affair that we've had with Mario. 1985, there was a limited release of the Nintendo Entertainment System in the New York and LA markets, and we lived in North New Jersey at the time, and my brother, believe it or not, and I was like trying to pull up like old clips of bowling alleys. My brother had this birthday party at a bowling alley. And I still vividly remember, and I've told this story before, but I still vividly remember my brother getting a gift from my grandmother, who gave him this box, and he opened it, and believe it or not, it was the NES Entertainment System. And I have this memory still, and I could just like visualize that moment, and I was able to see the first Mario. So let's talk a little bit about this game, because obviously, and if this game was your first time playing Mario, let me know in chat. But Super Mario Bros. Was a groundbreaking game that introduced us to the Mushroom Kingdom. Fantastic world filled with mushrooms, turtles, other strange creatures. The Mushroom Kingdom became an iconic setting for the Super Mario Bros. Franchise and is featured in countless games and spin-offs and merchandise. In the game, Mario and Luigi must journey through the Mushroom Kingdom to rescue Princess Toadstool from the clutches of the evil Bowser. Along the way, in the encounters various enemies, including Goombas, Koopas, Troopas, and Piranha Plants, as well as friendly characters like Toad and Yoshi. Well, Yoshi's not in this. But the Mushroom Kingdom is a vibrant, colorful world, each level presenting a new challenge for the players to overcome. The environments range from grassy fields, under caves, haunted mansions, and fiery castles, each with its own unique hazards and obstacles. So this, I believe, is the first time that we were introduced to the Mushroom Kingdom. And then later characters would, hey, Sanity, what's up? Good to see you in chat. But this game, I mean, what can you say about it? I mean, it is what launched a generation beyond just Mario becoming this like franchise that lives on forever because of its experience we had, but it's really a love letter to video games in general and the rebirth of the gaming industry, because at a time before this, a few years earlier, Atari had a major crash and a lot of people were scared of investing into video games again. But it wasn't until the Nintendo Entertainment System that we got that back. We got that love affair back with video games. And a lot of it has to do with the success of the NES, the success of Mario, just giving us the first taste of like a true side-scrolling platformer, the way we still play modern side scrolls today. I mean, it is iconic game style, game type. And there's not much more you could say about this original game. We won't stay on it too long, but let's move up the timeline. So in 1989, let's see where. 1988. They released Super Mario Bros. 2, which, has its own controversy because it was actually modeled after a Japanese game that already exists, and they copy-pasted a lot of the characters to it, but there's still kind of like a really interesting connection to this game. I really liked it. I know a lot of people like have their feelings about Super Mario Bros. 2. I'd like to know how you feel about it, but let's read a little bit about it. Super Mario Bros. 2 was a great game that departed from the original game's formula and introduced new gameplay mechanics, such as the ability to pick up and throw objects, choose between 4 different playable characters. The game expanded the Super Mario Bros. Universe, introducing new enemies, power-ups, environments. Its impact was felt not only in the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, but also in the video game industry as a whole, inspiring many more future games to establish platformers as a genre in video games. Now, I won't say too much on Super Mario Bros. 2. I know there's a lot of controversy. Some people hate it. Some people love it. I love it. But here's a game that I really like. So we're going to move up the chain. In 1989, the game Super Mario Land came out for the wonderful Game Boy that was released in 1989. Introduced new power-ups, enemies, environments, and new characters named Princess. New characters. The game's success on the Game Boy also demonstrated the viable experience of the success of the handheld console and the platform for high-quality gaming experience, and paved the way for the future of other Mario handheld games. Sandy says, Mario 2 is great. I don't care what they say. I don't care it was a Doki Doki Panic skin. Sandy says, Mario Land was rough. Mario Land 2 is absolutely brilliant. We will, but Mario Land was pretty cool, though, still, just for its ability to, showcase playing a Mario game on a handheld. I think that is very important. So let's move into 1989. Mario goes back on TV, and this introduces us to one of my favorite classic
Like the others who get all the fame. If your sink is in trouble, you can call us on the double. We're faster than the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers. Hooked on the brothers.
The Super Mario Super Show was a live-action animated show that aired from 1989 and had a significant impact on the Super Mario franchise. In pop culture, one of the most notable impacts of the Super Mario Bros. Super Show was its influence on the portrayal of Mario and Luigi in pop culture. The show's portrayal of the characters as Italian plumbers became a defining aspect of the characters and since became a staple in their portrayals in future games and TV shows. The Super Mario Bros. Super Show was also significant because it was one of the first TV shows based on a video game franchise live-action mix and helped establish the idea of video game adaptations being viable as an entertainment medium. Overall, the Super Mario Super Show had a significant impact on the Super Mario Bros. Franchise. Its influence portrayal of Super Mario is well received, and the introduction of new characters and concepts has a long-lasting impact. It had 52 20-minute episodes. That's a good run. Also to note, hey, what's up, Waywolf? Thanks for stopping by. Also to note, and I want to give love to Captain Lou Albano, okay, for the WWE in 1996. And here's his wonderful induction to, and rest in peace, Captain Lou. He passed away. I'm not quite sure what year he passed away, but he's a legend, and he should be noted as a legend in wrestling as well, beyond just being the wonderful Mario. But he brought us that kind of iconic New York style Mario, you know, really owned up to it. And Waywolf Nice, I never actually seen this show, just clips. I should check it out. Hey Manny, what's up? Good to see you in chat. And Sandy says, going back to watch the Super Mario Super Show made me realize how rough that show was. Thankfully, I could just skip to all the Zelda episodes. It was, you know, come on, man. It was a show back in those days, but I still love it. I still absolutely love it. But Lou, rest in peace, legend, and is a very important part of the pop culture surrounding Mario. So it's super, super awesome to note. Now, let's move into one of the most arguably greatest games ever made, greatest games of all time. Super Mario Bros. 3 was released in 1988, introduced new, or 1990, I forget which one, introduced new power-ups, enemies, level designs, innovations, and world maps. The game's success helped establish the NES as a pop culture gaming console and cemented Super Mario Bros. Franchise as a cultural phenomenon. I think that's correct. When this game came out, it was absolutely phenomenal. Not only that, it introduced us to the Tanuki Mario, which is one of my favorite Marios because he has the awesome raccoon tail. I mean, iconic in its own right. What can I say about this that others haven't talked about already? This is one of the most iconic games ever made, still holds up today as one of the greatest games ever made. Sandy says they had to change all the music. Oh, did they? That makes sense. But let's read a little bit about this. Super Mario Bros. 3 was the most impactful... oh, wait. I already read that. Moving on. So something interesting people don't realize is that in Japan, about the same year that Super Mario 3 came out, there was also a Super Mario Bros. Anime in Japan. And this is the Super Mario Bros. Anime movie. It wasn't a TV show, it was a movie in 1986. Super Mario Bros. Peach Heim Kenjutsu de Sukosen. I totally butchered that, but also known as the Great Mission Rescue of Princess Peach. While the movie did not have a significant impact on the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, it was notable being the first ever feature-length animated film based on the Super Mario Bros. Franchise. The movie featured Mario and Luigi on a quest to rescue Princess Peach from the clutches of Bowser, and it introduced new characters and concepts to the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, such as the character of Prince Haru, and who became a love interest for Princess Peach. So really, I don't know if anyone knows of this show or has ever heard of it, but it's not a show, I'm sorry, it's the movie. So now, moving up the timeline, we're going to go to 1993, or I believe it's let's see, what year is Super Mario Bros. World 1991. So here we are. Super Mario Bros. World, which is arguably one of the greatest side-scrolling platforms. I just talked about Super Mario Bros. 3, and then they released Super Mario Bros. World, Super Mario World, which is iconic in its own right. Released in 1990 for the Super NES, introduced new gameplay mechanics, power-ups, enemies, and level design innovations such as additions of Yoshi and the Cap Feather, a non-linear progression through the world map. Success helped to establish the Super NES as a popular console and cemented the Super Mario Bros. Franchise. You know, it's like everything I read, it just says everything is a phenomenon. So this is Super Mario Bros. World, which for the Super Nintendo broke new grounds in this game. It's a beautiful love letter to not only side-scrolling platformers, but the Super Mario franchise in general. Manny says, the memories playing Super Mario World 3, Super Mario Bros. 3 was friends and family is strong. It's hard to think about the early 90s without thinking about the Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario Bros. World. Retro Game Brews, my bud, Ryan, up from the Gamers Week podcast in chat. I used to use the first 10 minutes of the Japanese anime movie as the tournament starting screen for Twitch. Oh, is that for our Twitch Mario Kart tournament or just your tournaments in general? Probably was both. But that's awesome, man. And Super Mario Worlds is probably a lot of people's favorites. Now, did you know, though, moving up the chain, there was a Super Mario World cartoon, believe it or not. So released in 1990, this this cartoon aired in 1991 actually, and did not have a significant impact on the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, but it did introduce new characters and locations, and notably did not feature Toad, which I believe was he featured in Super Mario World. I think Toad was excluded from Super Mario World. I might be wrong. Excuse me if I'm wrong. I might be very wrong. Okay, so moving up the timeline. There's a lot of cartoons. That's the anime. There was also manga, so Super Mario Bros. Manga, which is still active and running today, but they had a manga back in the day. Let's get into, this is now, we're moving up to Toad was on vacation. Moving on to 1993, which is the iconic, which I still think, and there's a lot of controversy right now with John Leguizamo. He says he won't watch the new Super Mario Bros. Movie because he feels like there's not enough representation. And I want to say that I love this movie. I don't care what anyone says, but let's talk about it. The movie had poor reception and was considered a commercial failure. As it was an approach to video game adaptations at the time in live action, it had a greater influence on staying true to it wasn't very true to the source, basically. However, it did introduce new concepts, and it was, revered, and I still love it. Does anyone not love this movie? Because I love this movie. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it, as it's an iconic piece to the puzzle. Moving up the list, we did see someone mention this earlier. It's Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, which I actually mentioned on my Twitter recently. I've been playing this on my Game Boy Advance SP lately. This is such a phenomenal game. I mean, what can we say about this, folks? This game is ridiculously good. Moving up the chain, we have another game I'm going to mention, which was Game Boy's Super Mario Land 3. Keep going. And then, of course, one that's very loved, or people just hate the baby crying, is the wonderful Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, which is an outstandingly, just ridiculously beautiful game. And yes, Retro Gamers, we could say that 6 golden coins is probably a masterpiece. By the way, I need more coffee because I don't know, I'm a little bit tired today. Usually I'm wide awake and like screaming at everybody. Commodore says, when Mario went 3D, I lost interest. Interesting. We're going to get into that. So let's watch this video, because this is a time which I think leads in. I know you don't like 3D, Commodore, as you said in chat, but this is a remarkable time because it's 1996 and this comes out.
Out. We have the answers.
Hi, you guys busy?
Considering how popular Mario is,
See these 3 guys right here? Who are they? Okay, if you don't know who that one is or that one is, how about that one? Do you know who that one is?
Super Mario.
And we're talking about the release of the
comes as no
N64.
surprise that Nintendo's new
So, story time. As Sandy says, never played Mario World 2, but I picked up the cart in the Retro Hall. Super Mario Bros. 64 is a lot of fun. So, when the N64 came out, I remember going to Toys R Us with my parents, and this was the first time I ever pre-ordered a console. I remember we went into Toys R Us. Look, I pulled up a Toys R Us commercial here. Let me get that up here. And they had the tickets, right? And there was a pre-order ticket, and I think it was about 6 months before the actual console came out. And I also had a ticket for Super Mario 64, of course. And I put that ticket under my TV in my room. I had this little 13-inch CRT, and I kept it under there for so long. And I remember every day I would take it out under the TV, and I'd look at it and be like, soon I'll have this. But what can we say about this game? Regardless if you like the N64 or not, this is one of the most remarkable games ever made, considered one of the greatest games ever made. Super Mario 64, released in 1996, had significant impact on the gaming industry in a way that kind of formed the way we experience games today. Here are some key takeaways, and I want to dig a little deeper into this and give people a perspective on what was introduced in this game and how powerful it really was, regardless on how you feel about the console itself. I love the N64. I know people in chat like Retro Game Brews, not a huge fan of the N64, but the game should be noted. So let's talk about it. So pioneering the 3D platform, Super Mario 64 was one of the first successful 3D platforms, bringing Mario into the new dimension, setting the standard for future games. So we're going to go through a little things here. So first is the analog stick. The game was designed to take advantage of the Nintendo 64 analog stick, allowing for precious control of Mario's movement. This revolutionized how players interacted with the 3D games and became a staple for future consoles and how controllers were made. Camera control. Super Mario Bros. 64 introduced a dynamic camera system that allowed players to adjust their view of the 3D environment. This innovative feature was crucial for navigating the game's complex levels, set stage for camera systems in future 3D games. Non-linear gameplay. Unlike previous Mario games, Super Mario 64 offered a more open-ended experience, allowing players to explore levels, complete objectives in any order they wished. This non-linear approach became so popular that other games like Banjo-Kazooie, Spyro the Dragon were inspired by that mechanic. Looking in chat, I see Retro Gamer says, as someone who doesn't like the N64, I agree this game is a shining example of what should be in a 3D environment. Perfect. I love it, Retro Gamers. And I'm not baiting you or anything, man. I love you. And I appreciate that you appreciate where this game's impact comes from. Sandy says it was an amazing demo of what 3D gaming could be, and such a full game. Overall, Super Mario 64's groundbreaking innovations and enduring influence have left an indelible mark on the gaming industry, shaping the way we play games and how designers and developers design games today. So it's in the journey and the retrospective of looking back on Mario. This game really turned the corner. You had games like the original Super Mario Bros. In 1985. Then you had Super Mario Bros. 3 that broke new things. Then you had Super Mario World. And then this one just knocked it out of the park. And to note, and I did post this on social, but we're going to watch a quick video of a man that revolutionized the way we heard Mario, and that's Charles Martinet.
In Sausalito, California. I travel all around the world doing my voiceover work and other work, but this is home. Yee-hee. Well, I started doing acting when I left college, went out to a drama school and started studying, and then I went to the Drama Studio of London in London to learn how to be a professional actor, a manly actor.
So this guy is so important, and I want to note, like, beyond this Chris Pratt thing and whatever, Charles Martinet is an American actor, voice actor, the best known providing the voice of Mario, the iconic character from Nintendo's popular video game franchise. This gentleman was born in 1955 in San Jose, California. Martinet has been the voice of Mario since 1990. In addition to Mario, he has also lent his voice to other characters in the Mario universe, such as Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, and several others. Iconic, just an important figure in the growth of how we respect and just know how we hear Mario every day. In my head, I hear Charles Martinet. Retro Gamer says the address he takes on the character in the new movie. Don't spoil anything. I did not see it yet. That's why we're doing this. About to see the movie after this. But I do know that he is lending his voice to the movie. But I don't want to spoil anything, but I appreciate it. All right, moving on. Obviously, the GameCube. It's okay. I don't want to know what happens with Charles Martinet in the movie. Retro Gamers. If you missed the beginning of it, I said this is not a spoiler. We're just doing a retrospective of Mario. I love you, man. You're good. All right, so then the GameCube comes out, and I want to talk about a game that I absolutely love, and that's Super Mario Sunshine. Super Mario Sunshine is kind of an oddball game and there's some people that aren't so much in tune with this game and might not completely love this game, but I love this game. They re-released it. It's awesome. And Super Mario Sunshine's impact on the gaming industry includes introducing the Flood, the FLUDD, a unique water spraying backpack showcasing cohesive level design and incorporating environmental storytelling and featuring fully voiced cutscenes. This innovation influenced future Mario games and other platforms, contributing to the evolution of the 3D gaming. Super Mario Galaxy, which is the next one that I'm going to talk about. And I'm not going to pull up every single game because we can go down a rabbit hole of like all these. I mean, how many games does Mario have? You know, I could go through like a ton, but I'm only highlighting the ones that I think were just extremely impactful in the journey. So one to note, and one that's a favorite of mine is Super Mario Galaxy. Super Mario Galaxy impact includes introducing gravity-based gameplay, immersive orchestral music, and creative level design, which broaden the horizons of 3D platforms and introduce future games to the genre. Retro Game says, then I probably shouldn't tell you that redacted moment when... Thanks, Retro. I appreciate it, man. I'm excited. I'm literally going to see the movie after the podcast, so it's quite fitting that I decided to do a kind of retrospective, just me today, with our friend Mario. So no worries, man. You're good. I'm excited. I can't tell you how excited I am to see the movie. But Super Mario Galaxy, such a fantastic game. Super Mario Galaxy 2 as well. You know, the Wii was cool. You know, it had some really interesting mechanics, and they really took advantage of that with Super Mario Galaxy. It's a beautiful game. Just a wonderfully, beautifully made game. And I wonder if they'll ever make a new version of it. So, as we kind of close out here, you know, the impact today is so important. So I wrote a little script here, and I wanted to read it to you guys, because I feel like this is how I feel to conclude, like how much this guy means to me, means to the video game industry, and all that. So as we conclude our kind of journey in Mario's incredible journey for himself, it's clear that his impact on the gaming industry and gamers worldwide is as strong today as it was even when he first was introduced in Donkey Kong. From pioneering 3D platformers in Super Mario 64 to innovative gameplay mechanics in Super Mario Sunshine Galaxy, Mario's legacy continues to inspire and shape games we enjoy. The lovable Plumber has transcended generations, provided a source of joy, nostalgia, and shared experiences for players of all ages. The lessons learned from Mario's evolution are evident in the industry's continuous drive towards innovation and creativity. In today's gaming landscape, we still see echoes of Mario's influence in various titles and genres, proving that his impact is not just limited to platformers. As we look forward to the future of gaming, there is no doubt that Mario will continue to be a guiding force, setting new standards and bringing us together through the magic of play and the magic of movies, because just like we've talked about, there's a brand new movie out right now. So that is a love letter. This episode that I've done today is a love letter to Mario. Now, I want to hear from the voices out there, right? I want to hear from the people that matter the most, and that's you. And every morning, when I do a podcast, I throw the topic up. And today I said, Mario's touched countless lives and created unforgettable memories for generations of gamers. What's your favorite Mario game of all time? So we are going to go through and just see what other people consider to be their favorite Mario games. Sandy says, I still want to get all the shines someday, but those damn Yoshi levels are too damn hard. Commodore says Super Mario Brothers on Commodore 64 FTW. I love it. So we have Shibby says Super Mario Bros. 3. Simple says walking 5 miles, even 10, to a Blockbuster video that had a kiosk set up to play it. I just run around in circles that opening area. That analog stick was amazing. On top of seeing the transition from the 2D to the full 3D games today, really missed out. Another person, Paul, says Super Mario World, but increasingly my affection for Super Mario Bros. 64 is growing. Super Mario Bros. 3. James says 2D Super Mario Bros. 3 and 3D Super Mario Bros. Galaxy. Patrick says all time would be Mario 3, but right after that is 64. I still play it all the time. Joe Baldwin says, playing through Mario RPG again has me wondering if I enjoy it more than Super Mario World. I'll stick with the World for now, but it's close. I see Super Mario Bros. 3 here. Super Mario Bros. World. Haywire says, does Luigi's Mansion count? I want to say no. Just because I want to give Luigi his own due. So I'm gonna disagree with you there. Otherwise, probably either Sunshine or Galaxy, though 64 DS was amazing too, 3D and mini games. Joshua Randolph says, really hard to pick just one. To perfectly be honest, here are some of my favorites. Super Mario Kart Double Dash, Super Mario 3, new Super Mario Bros. Wii, 3D World, Mario Party 4, 5, and 6. We didn't talk about Mario Party. Let's see if we got any more people here. Paradise says Super Mario Bros. 3 stands alongside Sonic 3 and Knuckles as the two greatest platforms of all time. Hat says Super Mario Bros. 3. I didn't have any video games as a child, but my cousins did. When I played this, I was floored. Great times. Sandy says, common credits, it scratched the itch, though, since my parents wouldn't let me get the NES for the longest time. Let's read a couple more here. Saint Haru says, Mario 64 always. I have countless memories playing it as a kid. We were pretty poor growing up, so getting new games was a treat for me. Mario 64 is a game I always went back to over the years, and I still get hooked today. Look at the love for Super Mario Bros. 64. I mean, Super Mario 64 is so iconic. Obviously, it means a lot to people. Dave says, the only one I can't seem to beat, Mario Special License by Nintendo 2, Hudson Soft. The controls suck. Tried hundreds of times. Oh, that's an interesting one. All right. Super Mario Bros. All-Stars. What else we got here? We got Al says, Super Mario Bros. 3, the changes from the first one were huge. 2 exclamation points. And it was made only 3 years after the original. You can't believe it. It was in the same hardware. We got Super Mario Bros. World. A lot of people. And thanks so much. Oh, look at this. We got a piano here. Oh, thanks, James. That was awesome. Really appreciate that. That's a great video. Obviously, he shows his love of music of the Super Mario Bros. Franchise. Look at all this love, folks. I mean, this is just a love letter. This is why I do these tweets. It's not for me. It's for the community to see and share how everyone else, appreciates something. When I do these kind of tweets, it's really, really takes me back when I see all the people that, and I hope that people see this, that usually I share their love of their games here on my podcast. That's what it's all about. Just Filthy says, Super Mario RPG is my favorite, as my favorite genre in RPG. Mixing Mario with it works so well. Wish we could play it on the Switch. Plus Bowser throwing Mario at enemies never gets old. Look at this. Just tons of love here. Let's read the last one. Super Mario RPG. As you can see, not only me, but lots of people just love this game. Lots of love for this game. Me personally, love this game. Before we go, let's just talk through a few of the best games of all time considered by Esquire. I just pulled this up. Other games to note, Super Mario Strikers, great game. Super Mario Bros. 3D Land in 2011, amazing game. Honestly, really good. Super Mario RPG, which we mentioned. Paper Mario, which we didn't mention, The Thousand Year Door in 2004. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, which we did mention, 1995. Mario Tennis 64, also really fun, 2000. Super Mario Brothers 2, which we talked about. Dr. Mario, we did not talk about, but 1991. Mario Golf, 1999. New Super Mario Brothers Wii, 2009, great game. New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, which actually was pretty fun. Super Mario Bros. 3D World in 2013, great game. Super Mario Maker 2 in 2019, more recent. Mario Party 3 in 2000. Mario Kart, of course, which features many characters, but we'll give that one because it's very much Mario as well. Mario Kart Double Dash in 2003. Super Smash Bros. Melee. And by the way, I'm a Marth and Mario main in Super Smash Bros. So I use Marth or Mario when I play Super Smash Bros. Commodore says, my wife can play 8 hours of Dr. Mario straight, easily. I bet. I know a lot of people who could. Super Mario Galaxy 2007, Super Mario Sunshine, which we talked about in 2002, the original Super Mario Brothers, which we talked about in 1985, Super Mario Odyssey, which is more recent, we did not talk about, but is a fantastic game, Super Mario Galaxy 2, then Super Mario World, Super Mario 64, and Esquire has Super Mario Bros. 3 as number one. So, I think a lot of people's top 10s of Mario games is either going to be these two, right? Super Mario 64, Super Mario Bros. 3, or Super Mario World. Like top 3. Yeah, this is perfect top 3. I mean, how could you could take any of these top 3 and make them the first one, right? Either one works. I do too, right? They had a really good list here, a very quality list. I pull these up sometimes just to use as reference for the show, but I will say this is quality list. But as I digress, and this is really cool. So, by the way, this is Miyamoto drawing Mario. As we kind of end the show, I'm not going to play any games today. I want to make this just Mario focused. So we're not going to do Muffins on stream today, unfortunately. I just want to keep it all Mario. I know we didn't have a guest today. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of just like a reminder on the impact that this gentleman that's been so iconic in not only the video game industry, but the world, because he's so recognizable. I think you can take his face into many international countries that are not Japan or the US or the UK or Australia, and people would know who this is. And that's remarkable. And it's kind of interesting to think, like, where are we going to see Mario in the next 30 years? Like, what's the future? Oh, and that's so heartwarming. Man, what a great guy, man. What would we do without this guy? But anyway, it's just thinking about that. Like, where do we see Mario in 30 years? What kind of games? What kind of Mario games are going to be in 30 years? What kind of Mario games are there going to be in 100 years? I don't know. And I'm kind of like sad that I won't live to see where Mario goes in 100 years. Will he still be around? I think so. I don't know, chat. Do you guys think, or anyone that's watching on VOD, will Mario be around in the next 100 years? Will video games still be around? Are we going to be playing a holodeck version of Mario? What is the future of Mario? That's like such a crazy question to look. We know what like the next 5 to 10 years are going to be, but what is the next 30 to 100 years of Mario going to be? It's a good question. Commodore Chronicles says Super Mario Bros. Cyberpunk 2199. Yeah, quite possible. Anyway, I think that's it for today. I really enjoyed it. I know that we're going to be coming back with some guests coming up the next Saturdays. We'll be back like we always are. I wanted to do this episode just me. Obviously, you see Mario below there. And I hope you really enjoyed whether you were on the live with me today. And thanks everyone that joined and hung out with me today on Twitch. But if you're on the VOD, really appreciate you as well. Remember to check out other past episodes. We are on our like 105th episode of Cafe BTW Gaming Morning Podcast. I've gone live over 100 times on Twitch, and now we have the YouTube as well. And you know, you could see older episodes. I kind of started the YouTube a little later, but please, down below on my Twitch, or if you're on the YouTube, check out our other links to just my general social media. Remember, we have the retro gaming community on Twitter. We're doing a giveaway with Animal Crossing for GameCube this month. And that said, I'm going to go enjoy the Super Mario Brothers movie. Next week, I'll do a non-spoiler review on it. Really appreciate everyone. And remember one thing before I go. I'm going to throw on, let me throw on some music because I have a really important thing to say to everyone. And thanks, Commodore and Sanity, for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Let's see. I got to put this music on. Before I go, remember, everyone, this is really important, all right? We only get one shot at this, so you might as well be nice to people. I'm Andy. This was Cafe BTW Gaming Morning Podcast. We'll see you next Saturday, bright and early, at 8 a.m., 11 Eastern. Till next time, be well.